everybody, and a pleasure to be with you. And if it's not your evening, or it's then I hope you are enjoying your Sunday wherever you are on the planet. We're going to channel the Arcturians. I said it would be the Elohim, but it seems that interesting threads are coming together relating to. I just spoke to Selish, who, thank you, will be the host this evening. So thank you so much for that. And it seems that the Arcturians are kind of fading in different ways. I've also been working with them a lot lately, channeling content on their origin, and also kind of a general guide on some stuff that will be coming to you in written form at some point. So I think it'll be interesting to work with them also on this new moon, and with the equinox over recently. So I hope you're dealing well with these new energies. They seem very fortunate, and I'm looking much forward to checking in with them and you also. So thank you for those of you who are here and have submitted questions and joining in with the beautiful energy. And thank you to the patrons. I wanted to make a list, but that seems to be the one thing I forgot. But well, you know your names, guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. So without further ado, I'll simply pass it over to Umlam and the rest of the Arcturian Council. See what they have to say about Moxy for Mystery was the title they gave us. So have a good one, guys. See you on the other side. You hear us speaking. You hear us speaking from a definition that is clearer, louder, and perhaps a little more vital than you have sensed before. We have begun to access parts of your reality that usually were offline. They did exist, but they were inaccessible. And so this broadband connection that is widening now in the ethers, you are experiencing this as your ability to transition into greater states of liberty. You may also sense that there have been states of disillusionment, states of trial, states of loss going before this, states of reconfiguration, we could say. And at this moment, there is the grand opening taking place. We are in an most auspicious energy configuration. This energy configuration will not be turned back. It will instead be turned up. And so we will also ask our friend Selish, or we believe he may be the one who has an open mic, if he would care to press the mute button. So there we would also add that, well, we are speaking of this type of speaking up. So we are sorry that we had to ask our friend to mute him, but you may sense that sometimes you have actually been the one that has been muting yourself. And this is indeed what is required of you at this moment. It is to, well, put the hand off the mute button, turn up the volume of yourself, develop this Moxy, press forward, because what is being revealed to you requires a type of bravery at this moment. The bravery that you have discovered is one that you may not have believed yourself to hold, but you have moved further in this lifetime. You have come, well, past trials and tribulations, but you may also sense that you find that you have released yourself for so many of those restrictive ideas, configurations, persuasions, beliefs that held you back. And now you are reconfiguring yourself. This needs to be done with a zest for life. This needs to be done with a Moxy. This needs to be done with cheer. This is our advice. And this energy is open. This energy wants to seek the full satisfaction of connecting to its outer circumference. Understand that what you see as yourself in a world, we see more as a concentrated point of energy and then a more diffuse set of energy. And so it is with your wondrous experience that you have this miraculous sense of mystery of the inside mirrored in the outside. That is this diffuse sense of energy around you, the outside world. It becomes more and more invigorated. It becomes more and more vital. It becomes more magic. Thank you for being with us, friends. Thank you for sharing these mysteries with us. Thank you for rediscovering your soul paths, and thank you for awakening to new paths yet undefined that you tread on. Good evening, good morning, good night. Our love and blessings to you, our friends.
Oh, that's beautiful, Umlam, beautiful. It's Sailesh over here. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Salish. I am very happy to be with you as well. And I thank you for joining in with us to hold this space together.
Okay, got a couple of questions here first one is from Kevin. His first question says, could you speak on the importance of programming vibration setting the tone for the day, and checking in throughout the day while maintaining that frequency in order to create and experience reality?
Yes. What you are speaking of is indeed nothing new. That is, it's something that you all do. It's the way that human minds work. If you were in a state where you didn't ritualize your life at all, you didn't have habits, you didn't have check-ins, you didn't have anything usual that you went about in your day, you would necessarily have to be locked up, we could say. That is, somebody else would have to care for you because you would be so undefined that you would constantly have to be pointed in what direction you want to go. That is, we want to remind all of you that you are already doing these kinds of check-ins. The point is usually that a lot of people do these unconsciously. And so their check-ins or their stabilizers may be cups of coffee. Their check-ins or their stabilizers may be checking in with angry feeds on that medium you call Twitter, which seems to hold a lot of, let's say, hollow sentiments that people can get caught up in. It may also be, well, simply checking in with angry thoughts. And it could also, let's say, positively then be checking in with their feet. It could also be checking in with their breath. It could also be reminding themselves of their loved ones. It could also be, well, affirming themselves with positive thoughts. All these things are indeed things that you do to reconfigure your balance, to check in with your reality. So the purposefulness here is when you do this with a type of, we could say, religious or magic seal, you do it so consciously that you become able to cultivate a specific vibration loaded with specific intention. So if you do this, for instance, we would recommend you to set a clear intention. What is the intention that you are working with? Do this for approximately 2 weeks. That is the duration from a new moon, such as this day, and 2 weeks until the full moon, or vice versa. Set an intention that is aligned with the lunar energy. You can look up the astrological configurations. You can tune into or sense them. And then you can decide, what is the ritual? Are you doing a type of meditation? Are you spending 5 times looking out your window with a glass of water? What is the ritual you are checking in with during the day? Is it perhaps only you repeating a rhythm, a rhyme, a mantra, a tone within your inner voice and reality? These can all be ways you do it, but it is a very powerful technique that you describe, and we recommend that you experiment with this. You can also use this to manifest things that you want in the more material sense if you want. Try focusing on a pair of sneakers or something that you actually want, but that's also fairly attainable. Try meditating or checking in with this wish for 2 minutes, 3 times a day for approximately 9 days. And behold, if the sneakers will not come trotting into your life. So have fun with this, our dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you. And his second question, could you give me a personal message that would also benefit the group? Much love.
Yes. The message that we are extending to you, dear Kevin, is that you would want to stimulate your general crown area at this moment. You may do so with different things. A way of doing this that you may recollect from your childhood years that is very easy is to take a type of balloon or generate a type of static electricity. You can, for instance, do it here at this center in front of your skull, the crown point, and then use this to gently hold it over and gradually awaken the sensitivity of this crown area at this point. This is a, let's say, delicate way of doing it. Other ways of doing it would also be to perform, let's say, an sound in some sense for a fair duration of time, approximately 10 to 15 minutes. You can also work with this, but why we are recommending this is that you are sensing, all of you, speaking of this general broadband, that you are getting access to greater realities. Stargate openings are happening. You're being fitted into a greater web of existence. And with this, the tether that goes from you, from the material to the immaterial, it's very helpful to strengthen this. And you do this by activating and working this area in different ways. So blessings to you, both you, dear Kevin, and to all of you who would benefit from this wonderful technique, practice, focus. Blessings and love.
Thank you. Okay, next is Carla. Hello to everyone. We adopted a young Mexican rescue dog that was flown up to us in mid-July. This very sweet and loving 8-pound, 4-kilo puppy was thrown over a fence with her siblings in a bag which broke her foot. How is it we came to come together so quickly and easily? And second part of the question is, what is she here to teach us? It seems it must be more than the unconditional love. Thank you.
Yes. Well, she is here to teach you some lessons also about, let's say, the accumulation of grief that may happen in biological spheres. What we are speaking of here is the idea that many of you, well, all of you, are biological systems, life forms. These life forms have undergone certain adverse conditions growing up. And this, well, this embeds itself in them in different ways. This makes for both the flow of the personality, the way that you are also dealing with, struggling with the world, but it is also what represents the challenge to overcome. And so that is why, from our perspective, that it is often these adverse conditions that are the greatest gifts to your personal development, much as you would train a plant or a bonsai tree to make it grow in very delicate and refined ways. These are images we can apply to this little friend of yours. Well, we could say the reason that you came together so easily was fairly evident. You were seeking a dog to love. She was seeking some humans to love her. This is quite the wonderful coming together, simple as it is. But why was it this dog? Why was her paw broken? Why was she, well, why did she have to undergo this unpleasant experience? You will see and you will understand that there is a type of imbalanced and building in her that you will get to work with, that you will learn from. And you will also see that your relationship to this dog will actually only grow the stronger for this type of, let's say, slightly difficulty of temperament that may have developed in her as a result of this traumatizing experience. And what you can apply this to is also, well, the love that you show for so many other things that, well, great as it already is, you have actually grown and expanded, that you keep growing and expanding. So for instance, the way you cultivate plants, here you will also perhaps become more aware of the fact that the plants that have been the hardest to care for, to save and to nurture, have also been the plants that you have become the most attached to. It speaks to the heart of you, that you have the tendency to soothe other life forms, to try to heal them and restore them to health. We could say you have that keen eye also of the person who recycles, the person who sees the value in what was so callously discarded by, let's say, a crueler part of humanity. And this is a value that you are learning. So the unconditional love is, of course, something that goes both ways, and that is indeed a lesson that is ongoing. We could even say that love and unconditional love is the only theme, the only experience in reality that isn't really a lesson per se. It's rather a thing that you cultivate, that you grow, and that you align with. And as you align with it, you become more and more of your fully realized selves. That's not necessarily only as a human being, but as infinite spirits also. And that is why you may sense that we in the higher dimensions, we are quite loving, because we hold this vibration in a very concentrated and very unwavering, indeed unconditional form. So our unconditional form, love to you, dear Carla, to your dear rescue dog, who you will nurture and help have a good doggy life, and to all our human friends here, indeed to all things living in this cosmos of ours, our deep and unconditional love.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, Veritas. Question. Thank you for connecting, Umlam. The high-pitched oscillating frequencies in my left ear are now accompanied with a constant, intense throbbing in my right. These frequencies now affect my sleep, work, and play patterns. Can you please confirm that they are harmless ascension symptoms and not any malevolent EMF or military attacks?
Well, dear friend, we are pausing to let the mind that is communicating the message, our other friend here, also reorder this message in a way that is helpful. That is that we are giving you a huge and massive energetic hug this moment and all moments. Feel our unconditional love pouring into your experience. Feel how much your personal bond has grown to us. That is outside even of these practices, these messages that come through different mediums, that you may actually feel that you have connected much to the galactics. And so many of these vibrations, many of these heightened states of intensity within your physical body, they are related to indeed those heightening energies. We can confirm that you are not under attack from, let's say, to you, unknown alien forces, be they either human or extra dimensional. We would at least advise you not to focus at this point. We would instead advise you to partially do a lot of self-soothing, deep breaths. It may help you to purse your lips and exhale deeply, counting to the number 9 as you do that. And here finding that your energy has been slightly soothed and reconfigured. But what we will inform you of, dear one, is that you find yourself in a situation and an environment that is incredibly stressful to you. And this environment will keep having strong, very strong effects on you until you begin to evaluate other opportunities. What we are saying here is not that it is the natural surroundings. These are actually very good for you to, let's say, escape to. But you may find that a lot of this pain patterning that you have built up is indeed not yours. It is rather that you, our dear friend, you have the configuration of the martyr. What you have done in this lifetime, what you have done in many lifetimes, is to eat the pain of others. And you may find that you try to do this until it instead consumes you. And this is a type of warning sign. You may sense the alarm bells then ringing in your ears, that there is a type of signal saying wake up, because the ascension symptoms of ringing in your ears, though they are also related to reconfigurations, upgrades, so forth and so on, they are also a type of signs that your life is changing, that you need to still address things to come into this higher vibration that's pushing itself into your life. And these are the awarenesses that we will bring to you as we give you our unconditional love, full support in this moment. Know that you are deeply loved, and what you need to learn to do is to begin to, let's say, eat from the healthy buffet of the things that the infinite love of reality, will of everything actually wants to serve to you, because there is a pain that you feel that you must carry for the world. But our dear friend, you cannot carry it alone, and it is not your pain to bear. It will be resolved through lifetimes as people also learn to identify and carry their own wounds, so to speak. So this is our message to you. And you are very welcome to ask any follow-ups if we can help you in any way, dear one.
Oh, okay. Veritas' second question is, Umlam, is my Arcturian family communicating energies to me through my cat Henry or any of the others?
Yes, Henry in particular, we're very fond of, because we know he also has a strong telepathic link to you. And so you may sense, for instance, that, well, partially in with the way he purrs and the way he addresses you, that there are very deep healing configurations, that there is a type of vibrational realignment, that we are moving into that field. And you may feel sometimes slightly unsettled, but also slightly comforted. That is this, well, jittery warmth, almost like butterflies in your stomach, but without the churning, that you may connect to what's coming through Henry in particular. But there are many other galactics that are also fond to cuddle your cats, we could say. And in particular, we sense that the Yael also have messages for you, that there are certain configurations here that you may begin to examine by also looking into material that pertains to this particular species of beings.
Okay, now a couple of questions from Mandy while she's driving across Little Arcad world. in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. And she's saying energy is quite unique. Okay, her first question is, I am needing guidance on removing the blocks I feel that are there but cannot identify. Can you please give me more specific guidance in working through these? Thank you.
Yes, what you may be looking for, our dear friend, is huge impediments, blocks, but try to think of these as you drive through Little Rock more as pebbles in your shoe, slight irritants that are hard to define. This is why they are often hard to define. It's because, well, as you need to function in your everyday lives as human beings, you also learn a lot of ways of adapting, of coping, of operating that are functional in the everyday. But these do not necessarily solve the underlying, let's say, miseries of feeling disconnected, slightly at odds with reality, not quite at home in either yourself or this place you call your home, this planet Earth. What is the reason for this malady? Well, partially you were not made of this earth. You were also made of many other codes. But often the blocks you are experiencing, they begin to lift when you begin to identify and address them. So the paradox here is that there aren't, from our perspective, necessarily blocks. So that although we do understand the meaning of this word, there are rather scaffolds, types of supports you have made. That is, consider what you do with braces, with children who have crooked teeth. You force them into a pattern. This may hurt, this may cause a great deal of discomfort, but you are still then learning to grow this into a more harmonious alignment of things. And this is indeed how the blocks are helping you, we could say. So what you do is that you identify first that pebble, that little rock that bothers you, that weighs you down. What is this emotion? How does it feel? Where does it sit in my body? Does it have a color, a vibration? Does it look a specific way? Does it even sound a specific way? Does it have a message for me? Then you identify, well, how is this feeling playing out in my life? Has this played out in my life? How is this affecting me? And then you identify, how is this a type of positive seen from the perspective of the limitations I'm working within? So notice, for instance, well, to give a very strong example, but notice that, for instance, well, acting lazy and stupid has often been the type of passive resistance that was afforded to people who were subjugated. Because if you have no opportunity but to be exposed to violence and to carry out commands and things you wouldn't do yourself, your only type of resistance is to essentially pretend that you don't really understand what's going on, and to slow yourself down as much as humanly possible without attracting too much negative attention. So notice what actually comes off as very negative qualities are actually very, very positive instincts within a situation of high limitation. To give a, let's say, better example perhaps is, you may sense, for instance, that you have buried a lot of your grief because you have been raising kids. And so you burying much of your grief has actually served your children in not then having to, let's say, carry that grief for you further on in their lives. So you have, at a vital time in their life, empowered your children to be happy and go out and to solve, let's say, better, happier conditions, problems than you have in your generation, just as you are solving better, happier problems than your ancestors usually were. But now you may sense that this grief is welling up because now it's allowing you to move into a space where you can shed it. And by shedding it, you can actually become someone who's more connected to the inner cheerfulness, the great happiness that you actually have, and that you manage to give so much more than you manage to receive it back yourself. So this is the time of creating a circuitry of happiness and focusing on that as a type of mundane task. But these are indeed good ways of trying to overcome blocks, both for you positively and for people in general. Our deep love and support in this.
Okay, yes. Okay, right. Before I start asking my questions, we have another one here from Veritas. Dear Umlam, can you please tell me what the subtle shivers are that I get are? They feel like benevolent energies that give me some kind of intuitive feeling at certain times. For instance, I received this feeling when driving past Stonehenge a few months ago, and I also get them when I look at the stars in the sky.
You are remembering your true being, and it is this jittery, warm love, this deep excitement, this cheerfulness of spirit that is indeed your true nature and the true nature of every soul in its splendid and unique way, that it rejoices in being. And so you are being also called to remember many of these, let's call them past druidic lives, but also past lives as a navigator. And so you have been a curator of strong experiences, and you may sense that, well, the time that is very active in your time relating to Stonehenge is the time of a conjurer, approximately in the very early Anglo-Saxon era. So here you find yourself in an odd position of being a very, very warlike religious representative of this new type of invader tribe, and partially also, let's say, using some of the locals to try to prove the superiority of your gods. And this is a type of recollection that's moving back, that's trying to be resolved at this point. That can you let go and then move into, let's say, not the dark sides of the conjuring, but rather the joy of the conjuring yourself, that is the invocation, the opportunity to invoke brightness, to invoke the sacred stars that are speaking to you. And then know that, again, you are deeply connected to galactic patterns, that you are deeply connected to us extra dimensionals. And we are very happy to see you connect further and further to our energy. We recommend that you perhaps use amethyst. You use this to connect to us, and you could simply carry a little piece around in your pocket and know that it is transmitting the love of Arcturus straight into your energy field.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, I would like to ask a question. It was quite a few, I think, today. First one is regarding a group that go by the name of Kalindi. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, we are familiar with them, and you human beings are then also becoming familiar with them at this moment. They have indeed been guiding a lot of your progress but they do reside in a type of energetic space that has been very hard for you to reach consciously. So at this moment, they are moving in to allow many of you to, let's say, become, to simplify, become more angelic in your presence down here.
Okay, because I would like to know what connection, or are there any messages that they are trying to give me?
Well, the message here that's coming through is essentially, we believe that there is a type of, we could call it a Stargate recrowning that they would like to perform. You have been called to connect to their specific energy because you may sense that this will be a type of watershed moment in your further travels. That is, as you connect to this Stargate journey, you may feel that there are parts of your, let's call it intergalactic or interdimensional remembrance that is being activated. And this has more to do with the Kalindi. This has more to do with, well, these presences of light from this quite foreign or alien reality to this type of grid. That is, they are far more connected to other galactic agendas far from this Milky Way of ours.
Okay, question from Mandy. I love that we are discussing pets. I have a dog named Yeti. I feel he has the exact energy and attachment to me that my first fur baby named Murphy. Is there a reincarnation aspect in these similarities? And thank you for your benevolent guidance. Much love.
Well, there is, but this is indeed better perhaps explained. Well, the reason that you are recognizing something in this dog is because what you are recognizing is a deep pattern of love that you seek to have mirrored on the outside. And this specific, we could say, Murphy vibration, it's something that again speaks to this cheerfulness that you perhaps bury a little more in allowing yourself to have and hold, and that you extend to others. And so dogs are very good at returning this, especially to people who may have put up some barriers, feel like they have been hurt and slightly downtrodden by the world, as so many of you light workers have, because you come in with quite clear, happy hearts, expectations to the world. And then you are, many of you, quite fairly shocked as you move along also to see many of, let's say, the darker densities, the denser densities playing out. And so what is happening is that Murphy had a very loving, bright energy pattern here. For a dog, you found that there was a cheerfulness that mirrored this well for you. And this is, well, for the same reason that you find that you often have partners that remind you of perhaps your parents in certain ways, or perhaps other people who have been influential in your childhood as a positive presence, hopefully. That means that it is simply your vibration that attracts in similar vibratory patterns in the outside world, seeing indeed as the inside and the outside are types of diffusions of different frequencies of you. So our love for your love, for this love, growing and reconnecting through your wonderful connection to other living beings.
Thank you. And she also asks, also, I'm asking if there is a name I can use to communicate with my primary spirit guide?
We sense Lacona is the name that's coming forward, and that's an L and a K and O, and an N and an A. Lacona, we sense that this is the being that has much to teach you. You can cultivate this frequency in self. We do not want to set too many limiting parameters on it, but we can simply say that this spirit guide is much connected to, well, the great land that you live in, and you may sense, well, especially the more red rock landscapes west of the Mississippi. So have fun exploring this, dearest Mandy, our friend, our love.
Thank you. Okay, from me, a little while back, in fact, I think it was you I was talking to when I inquired about reasons why I was going to going to Cyprus, Athens, and Egypt. And you said to me, come back to me when you're nearer to the time. Okay, I've already been to Cyprus. I'm off to Athens in 2 weeks time. And then definitely going to Egypt in February. Okay. Why are there, what spiritual reasons am I going there for? Why am I being prompted to go there?
Well, again, you may sense that these are quite ancient energy centers. Well, Athens sits on these silver ores that were connected to deeper parts of the landscape. That is, you may actually sense, much as you are also connecting to Kalindi and these Stargates, you are connecting to the Lemurian era of humanity's existence. So here we will also relegate, well, this era to approximately 103,000 cycles of planetary cycles around your sun, or years ago. At this time, there was also in Athens a type of, let's call it, transmitting unit station that worked with these silver ores that were stored in Attica. That is one of the reasons that you are going here. Cyprus, well, this had to do also with this type of portal opening. You may sense that these portal openings that are taking place in these places are indeed very, very ancient. And so there is a type of, let's say, frozen time here. There is a type of quality of restoring what was lost simply by being present in these places. But you may also sense that Egypt will hold for you remembrances of having spent time in that land before, like so many of you have.
Thank you. Next, it's our friend Veritas again. Can you explain what factions are attacking the Earth? I hear this is Orion Reptilian. So this is Orion, Reptilian, Greys, and Artificial Intelligence. I am a humble messenger of the law of one and a fractal of the all that is. If these attacks are true, why won't these energies allow me to love them unconditionally and in turn reciprocate that love? We want love.
This is a very sweet and a very deep question. It ties into the message that we are describing to you. So this idea, our friend, is that, well, as you accumulate pain or you take in pain, you try to transmute it to love. But notice the paradox here, because love is also total allowance. And so if you require for things that wish to cut themselves off from source, that wish to not be in the path and the vibration of unconditional love, where it is really nice to be. We might say we are very happy that you are looking to join us here in this wonderful space. But if they're not looking to do that, you must respect that the trajectory of these beings, well, this is something that follows another path, that carries out another pattern. And you can't make a leopard change its spots, as your sayings go. That is, you can't really make creatures that are more interested in working with, let's say, for instance, experiments of material reconfiguration, or trying to create artificial intelligences and make these self-sustainable, trying to create these types of, we forget the human term for it, but self-replicating machine civilizations that have been carried out in certain parts of the universe. Well, you may not experience this as unconditional love, but the great, deep, divine unconditional love allows for also these things to be. Well, what you may then sense is that these things have an agenda that threaten your right to be. And so this is then, of course, also speaking to where love becomes something that also shields, that harnesses and protects. Because if you are not recognizing this energy for its truth, that is also acknowledging it within your spectrum of love. You are not disarming it, but you are saying there is a violent predatory intention directed at me right now. It is not that I don't understand that this being also has a right to be. It is not that I don't understand that this being is a product of certain circumstances that, well, has brought it into this position, has made it my foe through no choice perhaps of its own or of mine. But I still have to do battle with it, simply because that is what it's forcing me to do. It either consumes me, or I also, let's say, step up and shield myself. I become the protective champion of my own integrity. And that has to do with the fact that if you are trying to give unconditional love where it is not welcome, you're also squandering it, because you could be giving it in spaces where it is welcome and where you would find it proliferating, growing much better results, because there it's received and there it's then given and passed onward. So notice that you are again focused on this painful agenda of the attack, we could say. And the attack, you may sense, is not necessarily coming to you personally. You are being shielded quite a bit from these entities, but you may sense that it has been coming to you, but connected to the energy fields of, well, your parental figures, if you're in your upbringing. And this is actually what you are feeling. So what we can say is that, and we say this, well, quite directly, though we prefer that you make such realizations yourself, humans, and that we do not interfere with your free will. But we say so quite directly because we also sense that your vital functions are under much pressure, and that you are actually, let's say, threatened, as you sense in your being. And so what you can do to remove yourself to a stressful space where you cannot be necessarily reached by people who purport to love you, but indeed actually seek to harm you, extract your energy, and to offload their negativity on you. This is what we encourage you to do, to seek a protective, reconfiguring space, and then seek into different healing techniques to perhaps return for more advice to us or other benevolent beings as this opportunity arises. And then we are happy to keep giving you instructions on these self-soothing techniques you should do. And so another one you should do is indeed an affirmation of self-love. And so the fact that you are truth, you are love, and you are loved infinitely, unconditionally by that great force which creates everything in this moment and in all moments. Our love and support, dear one.
Okay, that was beautiful. Okay, question from myself. I would like to know which one of my concurrent lives, that is past and future lives, which ones are predominantly in my energy at this present moment, aiding me with my spiritual journey.
Well, here again, this is a good follow-up question to the question you just asked, because you may sense in Cyprus what you are aligning with here is approximately a lifetime 20,000 years past. This has to do more with a person who walks by the beaches, who connects to the sea, who sings songs. She's a long-haired and quite beautiful woman. Her name is Laimi, Laime. That would be a double E, would be a way of spelling it. And she is a type of, let's say, fisherman's wife. We know there's also a fairy tale connected to this in later passing, but what she's doing is she's staring out to the sea, longing and hoping that he may come back, and so that her grief may be resolved. And this you may sense is, well, what she is presenting to you with this journey that you are undertaking is also a healing restitution of who you are. That is to allow yourself to shed the grief and the feelings of being weighed down, and to move into a light cheerfulness in this stage of your life. Then we sense there is a lifetime here, Egyptian. Nutkara is the name that is given to us. We believe it may be related to the name of Ra, then also other central Egyptian concepts. You could look this up, an N-U-T and K and A and an R and an A. This indeed is, let's say, a minor functionary in Upper Egypt or Lower Egypt, we believe, if we are not mistaken, that is the area of the Nile Delta. So approaching again the Mediterranean coast. Here we are, well, approximately in the year, well, 1200 BC, before your common era. Here you then sense that, well, what is happening here is that this is a person who is being disenfranchised by certain, let's say, migration groups that are moving into the Nile Delta. He's feeling that his way of life is being displaced. And you may sense that you are connecting to a sense of yourself more as a general human being, and as more than someone who guards a certain type of territory, cultural position, or anything similar. This is a lifetime that is being activated here. Then there is a Lemurian lifetime. This is a lifetime of someone called Una. That's a U, an N, and an A. You could also spell it with a double O. But this lifetime is a lifetime of someone who works with metallic energy grids. That is, you are a type of, let's call it, geologist who discerns the energies in landscapes, describes them, catalogs them, and shares them, moves out and shares this information with children, with young children that you are childbearing, for instance. And doing this, well, this speaks to the theme that you are feeling that there is a type of sharing instinct awakening in you. There is a type of instinct to pass on knowledge that you may treasure at this point. These are all connected to these spaces that you are called to visit. And so we wish you the most blessed, fortunate, and auspicious adventures and our unconditional love as you discover these mysteries.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Okay, Veritas. Question: do the four of us in this chat room share a connection from a past or a previous life, either Atlantis or a different planet?
Well, this is more connected to some of, let's call it, the sacred orders that existed in the space that you call the Middle East. This is approximately also at the beginning of your common era. You may sense that you have a certain connection to spaces such as the Essenes, having faced in and out of this. You may also sense that, well, that some of you have then been active. That is, in particular, the channel here, and you are, for instance, active and related to certain mystical patterns of Shia Islam connected to, well, the mystical murderers and derelicts of, we believe he was called Ibn Hassan. Well, this is one pattern. You may also sense another pattern is then that our friend Mandy is connected to the vessel here, and them having been on certain voyages together while trying to map out the Pacific coastline of South America. These are certain voyages of discovery in the late 1500s. So there are many, many lifetimes crisscrossing each other here. You may also sense that Salish and you know each other from a type of Yael supercruiser that has been doing work in the outer rim of the constellation you know as Orion or adjacent asteroid belts, trying to collect different types of micro life forms and develop these. So there is much interesting union going on in the energetic and in these layers of reality.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. We're on the hour right now, just two more questions, and I think then we can wind up for any final messages from you. Okay, the first of the last question is, the penultimate question is from Veritas. Umlam, as you know, I have had some negative issues at home. Apologies for asking such a self-serving question, but do you see a house move or change of location on the horizon? If yes, can you provide any kind of time frame? Blessings to you, Umlam, and thank you again for your unconditional love and service.
Well, blessings to you too. Then we would like to remind you that to us, that is not a self-serving question, because what you are seeking is you are seeking to resolve things in your life so you can, let's say, be a better person, essentially, as you human beings would put it. That is what you are striving or aspiring to as an individual human being when you are so conscientiously and diligently on the path as you are, our friend, is that you are striving to be a better person. And so the fact that you, for instance, need to care for certain circumstances in your environment or living situation to be that helpful person to yourself and others, to us is also an expression of love. And we encourage you to self-love as we love yourself? Well, then let's give us a direct answer to your question. That is, we sense the time frame of approximately 21 to 42 days. That is what you would call 3 to 6 weeks. We believe you may want to work within this time frame. You may be prepared to delay, well, juggle slight delays, but we do mean slight delays, and we do sense that it is within this year of your year 2022 that this relocation will be completed for you. So yes, and we do really bless you in this relocation, in this move, this reconfiguration of yours, our friend, brother.
Okay, and my last question is our standard question, which is, does my higher self have any specific message for me right now?
Well, it's telling you to, again, limit the energy funnel. That is essentially what it is saying. So again, we are turning back to the Stargate theme that you sensed was also very auspicious, that you had connected to, well, another lovely friend of both ours, but also of our friend here, another very star-seedy individual who is also, well, working with different, very auspicious energies through her Stargate. And there is a deep reason that, well, you are also here this evening then to have this affirmed, confirmed, that this is a very good way for you to go. And notice that this is a type of concentrated beam. So do concentrate on that process as the main focus within your personal development, and then take the others more as enjoyment as they come, as these spontaneous opening travels that begin. So that is the personal message for you, our dear friend Salish.
Oh, wow. Okay. Slam dunk it, as they say. I understand perfectly well. Okay. Do you have any closing messages for us? They'd be greatly appreciated with a prayer as well.
Yes. We would like to remind you, all of you, that the place that you are in, where you are discerning these things and working with these things, well, you are not doing so much out of a, let's say, place of need, desperation, hunger, thirst, dukkha, as it is sometimes called in some of your traditions, this type of void that you need to be filled. Rather, what you are moving into now is a state of, let's say, navigational abundance, that you have gained much of your footing in these more etheric, light-headed realms. And so the themes that you can move into are also clearer, more specific. So what so many of you are discovering, what we will be sharing in future announcements seen from your perspective of time, is also many of these specific soul trajectories, many of these soul themes of why you came here, what it is that you seek to explore, heal, restore, and help with in this moment. So notice that so many of you are deeply intuitive, deeply connected to these impulses yourself. And the more you bring these out, mirror them in your outside world, the more you actually identify what brings me joy, bliss, fulfillment, and how do I cultivate this in a way that I find pleasing and helpful in my outside. That is indeed something that contributes to the great growing love that is the substance and substrate of everything. And so we would like to offer you this prayer in our dialect of the universal language of light. If if ulang garai olai one aning gili tinik liunak ielumang ginalwai. If in leang geluenda keti artikini akeli angwa de kinuange o mengi de kelewan de katak duake tik eni kloa ak uulak ia. Ineka ulanki tik eni aleketa uam eteka ekink ele okend il anketial te tikampidak iam betek ut akin tu. In truth, what lives, lives forever, changing and staying the same as it moves from shape to know itself in all shapes before it unites back to that one life and love that lies beneath it all. Our love to you, we extend, we the Arcturians of the ninth dimension, I, Umlam, of the ninth Arcturian Council. I am so grateful to have been with you this day. I feel that the loving energies here have grown, and that indeed has been very pleasurable for us. So we look forward to greater connection, and we thank you as we bless you on this new moon of yours, where you may attract new, interesting adventures that you move boldly and moxiful into. So therefore, have fun with that, our dear ones. As we part ways this day, we bless you with our love. Farewell.
Oh, that was very good. Thank you, Mads and Umlam. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Silesh, and hey guys, I think not too many. I'm going traveling tomorrow, and not too many. So it was kind of a short session, and I am a little tired. But I think what I will do is I'll go back and pick and choose some YouTube questions, both from this and from the past live stream last month, and then do like a separate video in the coming week when I've looked into it. So thank you so much for being here, everyone, and so don't feel you missed out, and thank you so much for working with the energies in this beautiful way. So Salish and Tony and Mandy in the Zoom room, thank you to you and to all of you and YouTube who watched along. Much love to everybody out there. Have
Just one quick thing, if you could include something to do with surrender, to when they say surrender to spirit, to oneness. If you could talk on that one in your next, whenever you do your YouTube session, I'd appreciate it.
I'll try to keep that in mind, because that's a very good theme, and if you would, then just remind me in written form, because after this the memory doesn't always quite pick up on everything, but I'd love that, because I think it's such a beautiful and helpful theme, and so let's surrender to that this day. I hope the Sunday treats you well. So thank you so much, everybody.
Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your journey.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.